Hey guys, welcome back to the Campus Legends, and now we're on to the second best of three for today. It's going to be Temasek Polytechnic looking to find their champions for rather their representatives and their champions for the Campus Legends. And some of you might notice I got a new face beside me. I'm going to try something new this time. You're going to try and introduce yourself, okay? I've been tossing it over and introducing for them, and it feels very awkward for me sometimes. So you know what? Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Spoots. I'm gonna be color casting for this game.
Okay.
Very excited to see some exciting League of Legends.
All right, a very smooth voice, sounding pretty confident for this best of three. And this is the program that we have, right? For Skoga, we've been working with them and trying to develop the talent and get a couple of new casters in for all of you on stream watching. Do send them your love, send them your support, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the good social media stuff that you normally do. For now, guys, we'll be holding it up before we jump into game. There was a bit of a small break in between, but for those of you that are, maybe behind the curve, a bit slow, didn't catch the first couple of series, and it was the squad from T11 Square, right? The team with the professional players. A bit of a stacked roster. We had Ice Destiny, wasn't officially playing, but we also had Ennard on the roster, who was the standout performer, right?
Not gonna lie, it was quite a stomp.
Yeah, quite a stomp. I was low-key flaming some of the players, so no offense, guys. It's just a professional thing. I'm not trying to offend any of you. Try to make it an entertaining stream and keep all viewers interested. But right now we have jumped into Champion Select. So on the left side, on the blue side, on the first to ban and first to pick, it's gonna be Crescendo, and on the red, the opposition. It's funny enough, TooPid, which is also the initials of TP. So
Alright.
they're trying to get creative here. Right, so
Yeah.
we Silas banned away by Crescendo, and it's gonna be the Thresh first ban and the Karma as well. So support pool targeted out by TooPid, and Crescendo are going for the power pick bans here.
Yeah, and as we can see the Irelia also got banned. So we're really pinching that mid lane pool.
Hmm.
Silas, of course, also able to go to the top lane along with the Irelia. So I do want to see if we're going to see some new creative picks coming out on the side of Crescendo. On the side of TooPid,
Hmm.
meanwhile, I hope that we see something that is able to answer the Kha'Zix very well, because Kha'Zix is quite a suppressive jungler if he gets a hit.
Yeah, it's one of
Sejuani,
those aggressive junglers, likes to go in and try and make your life a bit more difficult, along the lines of a Nidalee, right? So interesting that they did go for the Sejuani, and these are lightning fast picks because to give you guys a bit of a background, the players went ahead and jumped into the game without us, so there was no one casting the actual pick and ban. So we do have the list of picks and bans now being remade, and they're gonna go with the same thing across. So Lulu, Kai'Sa to round the composition, Ezreal, Braum, and we saw how this lane went already. The Kai'Sa Lulu tends to have the upper hand.
we do see a lot of CC coming out from TooPid though, which means that they probably will excel a little bit more in team fights. Of course, Nautilus and Morgana taken off the board, even though the Lulu has already been locked in the support role. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Right. Like that you're calling that into question, which is, as casters, we have to be objective sometimes, and that was objectively quite a strange ban. Our OB is kindly signaling to us that that might not necessarily be the case, but yeah, I think the Morgana and Nautilus are the right bans.
Yeah.
Right, right. So they're getting the picks and bans underway, and this should be the rounded out composition if I'm getting confirmation. So just to run through the list, we have the Kha'Zix in the jungle, the Kai'Sa Lulu bot lane, Echo and Aatrox flexing around. Meanwhile, across the river, the ban phase, we have the Sejuani in the jungle, Gangplank in the top lane, Orianna in the mid, Ezreal Braum bot lane, which is a bit more obvious, a bit more significant this time.
Yeah, and the Ezreal Braum lane here is very defensive, coming
Mhm.
in from the side of TooPid.
Right.
Of course, Kai'Sa Lulu does have the advantage,
Mhm.
like you brought up earlier. One thing I do want to draw attention to, though, is the Gangplank in the top lane, something
Right.
new that we may not have seen so much
Mhm.
throughout this tournament. I think that you're going to want to shut down the Gangplank as much as you can, because he truly is that late game monster who can take over team fights, who can contribute a lot to the late game in
Mhm.
team fights. But yeah, very balanced drafts coming out from both Crescendo and TooPid. I think both teams are going to look towards the team fighting late game
Right.
to win their games, but I
Mhm.
think Crescendo does have the option for going to the 1-4 of the Aatrox in the side lane if they want to do so.
Yeah, I like that you brought up, earlier, you have to shut down the Gangplank because of, having the Cannon Barrage accessible to your team means you can make those cross-map plays, right? So you always want to get the lane that can make the cross-map play, just so he can't Cannon Barrage his own lane. Moving across to any other lane might make it a bit more tricky for his team, right? So of course, shut down the Gangplank, maybe get the Aatrox a hit open up the option of the 1-4. I like where you're going with this. Crescendo have the game plan set out for them. Maybe focus and rather path towards the top side from the Kazakhs. Maybe that's what we want to see a bit more. For TooPid here, I think the Sejuani as a response pick was quite interesting. You mentioned you were curious what you would use to reply for that. How do you think the jungle matchup works out? Because Kazakh Sejuani is, in my head, a bit more non-interactive. I want you to break that that sort of 1v1 down a bit more for me.
Alright, now the thing about Kha'Zix and Sejuani. Kha'Zix is a very aggressive jungler. He does want to go into the enemy jungle a lot, try to pick up those camps. Sejuani, meanwhile, wants to shut it down. She actually might want to gank for a little bit more because of the CC she does bring to the table. So I don't think that Sejuani will be looking to respond to the Kha'Zix
Right.
much. But, you know, play a little bit more, less interactive, like you said. Go visit the tops, go visit the lanes instead.
Yeah, interestingly, now that our observer is showing us, the last pick for TooPid was the Gangplank. So that was like a counter pick, right? When you take a look at the draft, as a color caster myself, I tend to place a lot more emphasis on what the team last picks, because that's them saying this is our ace up our sleeve, right? This is our sort of secret weapon that we're saving for. We're trying to get him the best matchup possible. This player is where we're putting all our chips with. So eyes on this Gangplank, whether it's going to be sink or swim for TooPid here.
Yeah, I mean, he does have that, you know, sort of cleanse with his oranges, which can, you know, allow him to run away from Aatrox's chains, not get pulled in.
Right.
And, you know, Aatrox is quite the melee matchup as well. If Gangplank is able to dodge very well, he is able to respond with the parlay.
Of course. And, I mean, the natural keystone of choice for a lot of these Gangplanks isn't really necessarily Kleptomancy. It is always the Grasp of the Undying, because that gives you a bit more sustainability, a bit more health to deal with this Aatrox in the lane itself. But that being said, it could very well be the Echo on the top side as well, because they are not necessarily in order, lined up in order either. So it could be quite tricky here as we come in. Some shenanigans definitely on the board here for Crescendo.
Yeah, and I do certainly think that Echo might actually match up slightly better into Gangplank.
Okay.
Yeah, because what was I going to say? Well,
this is the part I
lost
like,
the
go
train
on.
of thought. Yeah. I mean, okay, if you're the Gangplank, I think in this matchup, you're okay if you want to take Kleptomancy.
Right.
It helps you scale slightly better, get you to that late game team fight. You want to get the Ezreal online as soon as possible, and you really want to force it home.
Okay, so make sure you could get those two sort of Kleptomancy style picks up in order and get into the game. Just from a historical standpoint, looking at both teams, there are a couple of names that I recognize from, you know, a couple of SGCLs a while back. So for those of you that are unaware, the Campus League, Campus Legends has been going on for quite a while. The idea of, you know, tertiary, secondary schools playing has existed in Singapore for a great many years. I remember my first cast being the SGCL back in 2014, no, maybe 2015, right? So there are a couple of people that have been playing for very long. One of them being Lustreless, who is on this TooPid roster but is not playing today. So this is a team with a very storied member on its squad, and something that they could look to pull out of their sleeve if they're in a dire situation.
Yeah, and you're certainly more experienced on that front than me. So, like, I'll just default to Superior Judgment.
Alright. We are going into game relatively soon, as you can see on our screen. Well, not just yet, but TooPid definitely a team that I want to have my eye on. And the challengers here in the form of Crescendo, it looks like a draft that has its own merits in the fact that it is meta on one hand, but also extremely scary in their own comfort, in the form of the Kazakhs and the Echo.
Yeah, both teams certainly do have the team composition and the tools to succeed. And at the end of the day, we just have to see who plays better on the day and who is able to, you know, come on top.
Love that. Both teams comfort, but comes down to execution, and straight up AFK is not the best way to execute now, man. He was just taking his time buying his items. It's going to be the Aatrox in the top lane, I believe, here for Apprentice, and in the mid lane is going to be the Echo on Fine. Level 1 Cheese coming in, though. With the Braum, you always have to be careful of them stacking as 5 and just literally walking into your jungle and not caring.
I don't think we're going to see much action here, even though both teams are actually positioning towards the bot side of the jungle. Looks like they're just going to give each other a little bit of a friendly wave.
You say wave, man. They're grouping up as 5 and walking in. Okay, it's going to be a 4-man wave, right? It's a group hug here moving in.
Group up. Oh, Aatrox actually coming to join them.
Okay, so one side has 5, one side has 4, and with the man advantage, I think this is gonna dissuade Stupid from sticking around. So they're just gonna back the heck out.
Everyone going back to their lanes to, hopefully pick up a bit more of an advantage.
A good thing is that Krex is gonna be starting on the top side. He's gonna be pathing down to the bot lane, and Crescendo aren't particularly aware of this. There's not much information right now of this Sejuani path, but they have full knowledge of this cheese coming in. This is gonna be a
Oh
disaster
man.
if they overstay. This is some solo queue stuff that like you think might work, but in a competitive setting, not necessarily will.
Good ward.
Good ward will spot that out, and they're backing out eventually because they know they don't want to be late to the wave. So gonna pick up all that CS. Meanwhile, getting shoved out this Echo. A melee versus rain matchup, this is what you expected, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, in the early levels, you really don't expect to succeed on Echo. You really want to get to like higher levels to hit those power spikes when you get your items, and instantly burst down the Orianna when you're able to find a chance. And yeah, I think one thing we really should talk about, one thing we should really hone in on
Right.
here is the not only the mid lane matchup but also the jungles, because I think this is a very crucial part of both lineups in order for them to succeed. Now, I think for them to succeed, like I said, they have to look towards the top lane a little bit. Ezreal, Braum, not really something you want to gank. They're very defensive. But the Aatrox gangplank, you really want to get one side ahead in order to continue to snowball that lead from the top lane into the rest of the map.
Right, so acting towards the top side is going to be the name of the game for both these junglers, but instead they're pathing down to the bot side, and the first to act is going to be Krex here as he sneaks in behind just in time to get the damage down. Oh, a great flash behind two members, but it's still going to get knocked up. The Ignite might finish her off. Nope, the auto attack from the Ezreal denies that, and a massive outplay coming in from Jhin is going to get denied eventually. Now moving in with the stun. Nope, going to flash preemptively, but the slow still count though. The shield and the speed up will do enough for Onology to get out, and the Orianna lives to see another day.
And yeah, I really want to talk about that bot lane gank first, because if you are going to gank the Braum and the and the Ezreal, you want to gank them early. When the Braum is able to, put down more damage with his stacks, that is when you want to gank them. And now you have the Ezreal online with 1 kill. Let's hope he is able to, keep up the pace and snowball his lead further.
One thing I really liked though was that this Braum understood completely how to execute that gank. Flash in, auto attack, Q, auto attack, right? That's the perfect combo to ensure that the stun lands. Had he not done it that way in that particular order, I think the flash from the Lulu would have been completed, the stun would have connected, and they wouldn't have gotten enough damage to get the kill. So it was like a series of small outplays, right? The Lulu gets the second outplay as the Braum with the initial good start, and then from then on they just collapse onto one another, and now they get the early advantage in the bot lane. 1,000 gold ahead is the lead for TooPid, and they're looking to press this advantage even more. As you can see, the pathing coming in, early base moving towards the mid lane for Krex.
Yeah, credit to both sides. I think both sides actually played that really well. But at the end of the day, only 1 kill was able to be picked up by TooPid on the red side. Now we do see Sejuani starting to move towards the top lane. Kha'Zix obviously was up there, able to put down some vision to hopefully mitigate any sort of influence that Sejuani can exert on that top lane matchup. But Kha'Zix himself going down towards the bot side, maybe he looks for a gank.
Now the idea here, like you mentioned, Kha'Zix probably looking to answer or at least react to the early Sejuani gank might be important, but we see the focus still is on Onology. This Orianna is not having a good day, You pretty much see the camp that's being set up, the tent of this Kha'Zix. He's looping around once more. The cautiousness of this Orianna signals otherwise. I don't think that gank is going to happen because the ward spots out this Kha'Zix that has overextended. She's trying to make something happen here. 1v1 the jungle against a Kha'Zix, you might be a bit out of your mind, but the damage says otherwise. Forcing the rotation through from the Echo. Can't overstate how much the jungle camp did to help her, and Onology is gonna chase this Kha'Zix away from the camp.
Yeah, when we did talk about, the top lane, but I think mid lane is also a very crucial matchup. And, Kha'Zix also acknowledges this, has been to the mid lane many, many times. And even though Orianna was drawn to the Wolves camps to, stop the Kha'Zix from the invading, he does still have a sizable CS lead over the Echo.
And that's it, I guess, partly in nature of the range versus melee matchup. You know, in the early levels, it's easier for you to poke this one out. And maybe, you know, a couple of patches or a couple of years ago, in fact, the Echo would have had a okay time by clearing the wave with his Q. But one thing that happened in the past was that the numbers were dropped on the Q, and as a result, you couldn't throw 2 Qs and just clear the wave out anymore, right? So it's a bit more tricky for the Echo to deal with the wave clear of the Oriana.
So Joanny was looking to gank, but you know, I think the wave was too pushed for her to do so. Uh, yeah, I do want to discuss a little bit more on the mid lane because I think Echo did just hit 6. If he's able to go back and you know pick up a few more influential items, I think the lane here, the matchup will be a little bit more even.
I think the item of choice here might just be the Proto Belt, right? You rush her Proto Belt, get the ability to jump in and dive onto the Oriana and pressure her out. There's no barrier to speak of, it's only the exhaust, so there are some ways for the Echo to get a sneaky kill. If you can burn that first, gets the Revolver and a Ruby Crystal, not enough money, and the belt to get the full thing.
Ooh.
Still good damage, like you mentioned, with the item spike.
But Oriana is going to back here, and I think she does have some gold in her pocket here, which means she is going to be able to pick up slightly more items, and you know she's going to have quite a bit of influence as well. If if the Echo is unable to keep her in check, she can in fact go to other lanes and hopefully snowball them as well. But of course, the coin has two sides. Echo can also snowball other lanes by going through a river down to
Right.
help everyone else.
It's whoever can push the lane first, I guess, that can activate something in the side lanes. I want to point out to our viewers that the Gangplank has hit level 6 and the Diddly Cannon Barrage is available now. So it's either you gank the Gangplank and deny the ultimate, or if you act on the other lanes, that Gangplank is going to be able to join in. It's sort of like a lose-lose situation, right? So you kind of have to answer the Gangplank relatively soon. So all eyes onto Dim's Kha'Zix to make a move up to the top side to get something done.
Yeah, crucially, Gangplank did pick up the Sheen on that back. A little bit of slow game here, but that Sheen is definitely going to allow him to do a little bit of damage to the Aatrox and hopefully create a slightly better push.
Interesting thing also with Sheen is that it adds damage to your barrels, I believe. So
Is it?
yeah, the way that it works is that you're going to need to use the Sheen proc on the barrel to clear the wave out. True Shot Barrage being used to push the wave from Epistemology, but in the end it's going to be this bot lane that's shoved in for TooPid.
Yeah, I like this. Sejuani is actually on the bot side, and as you can see, there are 2 control wards on the side of TooPid in that bot lane jungle. And as you can see, the Sejuani is already starting up the Mountain Drake.
I like the control here. They understand that this might just be a win condition for them, as most teams recognize getting the Mountain Drake means your objectives take time is much quicker. You can take Baron, you can take turrets very quickly, and oh, with that W, Kai'Sa's gonna know this, but be unable to do anything. So that is secured by TooPid here. Krex does it for his team, and they get the first big objective.
And we really have to give credit to the vision setup over a bit of time from the side of TooPid, able to set up that bot lane river with a lot of control wards and therefore deny enemy vision into that dragon pit.
Speaking of vision, just hiding outside of eyeshot, it is this Kha'Zix who's gonna get spotted out immediately. So good movements coming from Krex, but he's gonna pay for it with a single Raptor. Shockwave completely whiffing, so diving in was that Echo, but failing to get any damage down. In return was the Oriana, so now he's just gonna push the wave up and be very, very careful though, because the dive in might just be enough to finish her off.
Alright, and I think...
Hold on, Kha'Zix coming in here, the exhaust slows the damage down, has to flash away from the stun. No fear whatsoever from the Echo, knowing that he has the chrono break to get out, and in the end the damage is going to be on the mid lane across with the True Shot Barrage, but meanwhile on the top side the fight's still going on. Apprentice having to flash out. Remember, this is the reworked Aatrox. If you don't get a kill, you're not going to revive. And the great skill shot coming in from the bot side, Epistemology gets the kill, 2-0 Ezreal.
And yeah, we're seeing action suddenly spark up all over the board, but it was only a 1-for-0 on favoring TooPid here, which means they are able to further force their advantage. And I do believe Ezreal did get that kill as well, so very good for the bot lane.
Yeah, there was definitely a True Shot Barrage across to get that kill pick up. This is starting to run away. They're starting to run away with the lead here in the bot lane, so we're gonna have to be very careful as they move on about how they move onto these kills.
Yeah. I do believe we might have a replay coming up.
Yeah, of the mid lane kill. Hopefully we do have a replay of that coming up. As it stands,
Ah.
we'll be waiting for it. Yeah, there we go. So that is the true shot barrage that sailed past, I think. A couple of
Oh.
frames away. Oh,
Oh,
no,
no.
we missed
Well, I
it.
screwed
No, you
My
missed
bad,
it.
my
You missed
bad,
it,
my
guys. Send all your flame to him on Twitter. Still,
First day, first day.
yeah, first day, we'll give it to you, Spoots. It's cool.
Alright.
Advantage still in the hands of TooPid, 18.4k against the 15.88. So if my quick math isn't wrong, we're not screw the math. We're finding on the top side. He's gonna get a solo kill and or rather 2v1 kill, and Aetherus is gonna fall, targeting the gangplank like you mentioned, making sure the cannon barrage isn't as effective as they would like it to be. Now they can get some turret plates in response as well.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this slow pace of game coming from TP. I mean, contrast that to the earlier best of 3. I think we are seeing much more controlled measure League of Legends here. And, you know, it speaks to slightly better understanding of macro coming from these teams.
You say slow pace, man. They're just going at it for the kills. Flashing away is the Lulu. Now they're looking to go under the turret to get the dive onto Sif. Getting damage down, multiple ultimates. Who are they going to give this kill over to? By giving over to no one, they might just lose it. But no, it's going to be Birdcage Diva that collects it for his team. Tanking the turret. It is the Ezreal now. They turn their sights over onto the Lulu. Going down eventually. Echo coming in for the kill, but a little too late. Now they turn their sights over to the turret. Teleporting in as well? Jeez, they're committing a lot for this.
Yeah, and actually might want to see a little bit more action here.
Yeah, I think a bit greedy if they find the turret, don't you think so? Because the wave has been all but obliterated, so I was kind of expecting them to say, you know what, you clear our wave, we'll just back off, you know, trade for trade. You committed the teleports, it's fine, we respect that. But they maybe might have overstayed and now they're backing off.
Yeah, and one thing we want to draw attention to was the speed of the execution. You could see that TooPid was the proactive one in this situation and did come down to the bottom lane to create that play at a slightly faster pace. Crescendo was able to answer with that teleport on the Aatrox. Unfortunately, was a little bit too late, and in the end, that teleport was wasted.
All in all though, the kill did go over to the Braum and Ezreal, so this just jets the bot lane so much more ahead compared to their opposition. Power playing is going to fall in 30 seconds, but I think they collected all that they wanted. We see a single plate going down the mid lane in favor of TooPid and 2 plates falling in the bot lane for them as well, so they will get 3, whereas their opponents will only get 2 in the top side. Gang coming in, Kha'Zix onto the back line, flashing in as well. Here comes the cannon barrage. So difficult to re-gank that lane once that has been used. And like we said, you gotta make sure the gangplank is not accessible to do that. Otherwise, your ganks are just gonna fail.
Yeah, and Crescendo acknowledged that the Ezreal is too far ahead for them to be able to answer right now.
Right.
You might see some action coming in here on the Rift Herald, but, you know, like I was saying,
Right.
Yeah, Ezreal usually takes a lot of time to, you know, ramp up to get the necessary items, necessary damage to be relevant in team fights. But TooPid here has been able to accelerate that by quite a lot, and Crescendo is struggling to try to answer, again because of that gangplank with his ultimate.
Cannon barrage is starting to become an issue for them, like you mentioned, and the Rift Herald there was dissuaded very handily by Crescendo, knowing that the Aatrox was around. TooPid couldn't commit to that. Still very big objective for them if they want to clear this out. They have a couple of minutes left to get this.
Yeah, but we have seen the Kha'Zix here being quite proactive. We've seen him try some ganks even though they may have failed. I like this, and I think if they continue to attempt these kinds of ganks, one of these days it's gonna pay off.
Like the old age-old saying, right? A broken clock is right twice a day. And right now, turning their sights towards the dragon, it is TooPid that's going to secure the second Mountain Drake. And with each Mountain Drake they get, their objective speed just doubles and triples, you know. So this is so much more dangerous now, because then they can turn their sights towards the Baron, then they can turn their sights towards the Rift Herald very, very quickly. So you must be able to answer these dragons soon, Crescendo. Otherwise, your late game is up. Speaking of answer, Onology taking the bare brunt of the damage, jumping across, nice damage onto the Orianna. Now they get the return kill in the form of the Kha'Zix. Echo is still just going to run him down. Cracks now on the edge of surviving. Great flash juking him away. Psych, you thought I went that way? Nah, man, he's out of that fight, and that's a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trade is actually quite valuable for Crescendo here because it goes on to their Echo. The Echo who, I think we've seen in the game earlier, but even though it wasn't, on stream,
Right.
is able to deal out a lot of damage when he gets a hit. So if we do see this Echo get a hit, I think TooPid has to, invest some resources in shutting that down.
Yeah, Echo is one of those champions we've seen in the past. If you think of notable Echo players, you think of Vitality's Jizuke in the mid lane, who can pop the backline so quickly when you have the access. And he's starting to get to that point, where Orianna has to be careful of her spacing, and you can't really overextend all too much. Now, the first turret goes the way of Apprentice in the top side. It goes in Aatrox's pocket. Early attention spent to shutting down the gangplank is starting to pay off, and TooPid are behind on multiple fronts in the mid lane as well as the top lane.
Yeah, I actually disagree with you a little bit. I don't think they paid enough attention to the gangplank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but now with slightly more gold on the Aatrox, I think if he is able to play the matchup well, the gangplank might not be that much of an issue, even though the cannon barrage is still a thing.
Shockwave being used, the stopwatch to buy a bit more time, but he's in a nasty position. They trade one across. The great ultimate coming in from the Braum as well. Now they're all split in their terms of their attention, but they're gonna get the Kazakhs on the exit. I was a bit unsure there because it seemed as though they used the Braum ultimate to commit to under the turret diving, but then they realized, what, the Kazakhs is free anyway. Let's go and squash the bug.
But credit to the Kazakh. He wanted to pull his team back into the game. He saw an opportunity and he went for it.
Yeah, making the plays there, making sure they can get stuff, and right there, because they knew there were multiple members on the bot side, Apprentice gets full access to this Rift Herald, and now he can bust a lane wide open with that objective.
Yeah, we really have to look at where he's going to put it down. Because if he goes for the split push, he can take that tier 2 turret if a fight breaks out at the bottom lane. Or they could attempt to siege the mid lane.
I'm curious to ask right now, because what do you think is more important, the mid lane or the tier 2? Because based on their team objectives, getting access to mid tier 1 means that they open up the jungle, they open up the map, and they can play the 1-3-1 more effectively as well.
Yeah.
Getting a tier 2 just means a longer lane for one person.
Yeah, it's exactly that. You want to open up the mid lane because the top lane isn't actually really where you win games from. It's the mid and bot lane.
Right.
So if you open up the jungle, you open up more opportunities to contest objectives and therefore allow your team a greater chance of succeeding.
Alright, so you heard the man, guys. If you're Apprentice right now, you want to run mid lane and just throw the Rift Herald down and get the mid tier 1. But in due time, of course, because you got to group up and make sure you can get the objective first. Sensing that, they've regrouped and redeveloped and reassigned their lanes. It's going to be Ezreal Braum in the mid lane, Orianna on the bot side, and in the long lane, it's going to be the Gangplank solo laning and trying to push this one out.
And on to the point of Rift Heralding the mid lane. I think that's going to take a little bit of work because as you can see on your minimap right now, Crescendo has set up quite a big vision line around the mid lane with a lot of control wards. So if TooPid really wants to siege that mid lane, it's going to take a little bit of work to clear out those wards to get all their teammates in one place in the mid lane and go for that siege. But as it stands, TooPid is sieging Crescendo's mid lane.
It's going down very slowly though, even though they have double mountain, and here comes the re-engage from Apprentice. He still has the World Ender available, but no, he's just going to walk in with the Umbral Blades and do a bit more damage with the Qs. Two members grouped out on the bot side against Ornology, so there's Orianna though taking a lot of pressure. Meanwhile, there's a kill coming in onto Birdcage Diva, who was caught warding and overextended, so they find a man advantage here on a wandering Braum, and this could very well be the Rift Herald being popped.
Yeah, we should see mid lane turret go down, but Gangplank is on the top lane. TooPid is gonna take the top lane as well to answer that. But wait, Rift Herald isn't actually down yet.
Oh, this might be a small misplay coming in. They're losing the window because right now, even though he's jumping to the top side, the turret is gonna go down, and so they get one turret for nothing, trading only a waylay support. This is a game of push and pull right now, Spoos, and I'm curious to see who's going to come out ahead because both teams play the macro pretty well, even though there's some mistakes being made. Rift Herald has to be used in the mid lane relatively soon, otherwise it's going to run out as well.
Yeah, and these mistakes can really cost you the game because you're not utilizing your tempo advantage to the max.
Speaking of mistakes, caught behind enemy lines is this Kazakhs. A lot of damage for leading the charge is the Aatrox. Here comes the Cannon Barrage to support the back line. They're looking like they want to disengage from this, using the World Ender to run away. Remember, this is the change World Ender. He's just going to fall eventually. And off the back is going to be the Kazakhs as well. Guys, you can't use that to prop the res anymore. You have to get a kill first before you get the resurrection. And now the third Mountain Dragon as well. Jesus, the RNG going the way of TooPid, and they can pretty much swing to Baron if they can get a man advantage anytime after this.
Yeah, and now on the side of Crescendo, you really, really have to be mindful not to get picked off, because TooPid can just melt that Baron like that. Or just like that.
Looking to turn their attention towards the mid lane with the man advantage. Of course, there's still 9 seconds on both the jungler and the top side now. It's going to be fine alone stun under turret, and with the chrono shift, we'll be able to jump out of here, but one more auto attack might be able to finish him off. Nope, great play under the turret, sights him out. My goodness, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, but keep your eye on Apprentice. He's forced to use his teleport to the bot lane because, ooh, Rift Herald actually just ran out.
Yep, Rift Herald just ran out, so he's forced to use it in the bot lane to get the Rift Herald down. Like you mentioned, great eye, because if he didn't teleport, it would be pretty much stuck in base, right? So he had to teleport to the bot lane to get the Rift Herald down and at least secure the bot tier 1. But Craig says something else to say about that.
Yeah, I don't think that Shelly's gonna do much on this turret. This Sejuani and the rest of TooPid are here to answer the Rift Herald.
That's a fuse bad. They commit multiple members to clear that out, and bot tier 1 still stands. Turning their sights towards mid tier 1 now is Crescendo there. 4 members strong. The wave is gonna get cleared out very quickly by the Orianna. I say that they move forward aggressively and get all 5 members down to siege the structure. A bit afraid was Analogy. They didn't want to walk up to clear the wave, so they did get the turret hit.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of sieging, and I think that began from actually that top lane fight, because it freed up the Aatrox to then go towards the bottom side of the map, and we have seen that Aatrox try to snowball mid lane, try to snowball their bot lane, and put in as much effort as he can.
That's just good top lane play in general, right? Once you win your lane, you crush the turret, you roam to the rest of the map and try to expand your advantage in other ways. Analogy staying alone in the mid lane, has a couple of members on the side, but it's a warded brush and they will find out now with the control ward. Excuse me. Now, on the bot side, Ethereus trying his best to clear out the wave. You realize he's been slow pushing a lot of these waves instead of fast pushing them, and that has garnered him a small CS advantage.
Yeah, we see TooPid here trying to siege the mid lane. It's actually going pretty well because they actually have quite a lot of poke, a lot of damage in, you know, a small window of time. And Crescendo might actually be forced to give up this low health mid lane turret and open up the map for TooPid.
I like you bringing that up because they know it's low health. They want to make something happen here and they catch the Kha'Zix out. He uses the Glacial Prison. The Craig's trying his best to lock him up. Meanwhile, the re-engage onto the side. It's Echo that's going in alone without anyone behind him. The power point of this team is nowhere near this fight. He's on the bottom side. Aatrox is there in the gangplank, and now the turret will fall. One mid turret down a piece as they look to continue the siege, turning their sights towards the bottom lane now.
Yeah, one thing I don't like about that though, even though they did get the turret, when you saw the Kha'Zix go up to, you know, I think it was trying to farm the wolf or something.
Yeah.
TooPid tried to answer that instead of taking the turret outright. And if that turret had been, you know, slightly more
They could have
healthy, yeah, well, yeah, or they could have just not taken the turret out.
Right. So definitely should have prioritized the objectives first. Overstaying here might get caught out by the Echo. Nope, eventually runs out of the AoE. Overstaying just a bit here is TooPid, and maybe a sign of, you know, pride and sloppiness coming in from the TP soon-to-be representatives.
Oh, we don't know who's gonna be the representative.
Hey
yet.
man, the goal tells a different story. So looking for the bot lane siege now is TooPid. But like you said, it's anyone's game. It's still game 1, 0-0 apiece. It's a best of 3. Fight might be breaking out soon as we see multiple objectives, not objectives rather, but multiple ultimates still available for both teams.
Can we take a look at the AD carry matchup actually? Because that Azrael has been very crucial to the success. Ooh, actually nice action there.
Yeah, a lot of action onto the Echo, who still has his ultimate and will not be able to use it in time. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, they find the Orianna. So both mid laners have fallen, and now a lot of damage on the backline from Ezreal, who is completely untouched, landing Mystic Shot after Mystic Shot. They get a great re-engage and they jump the backline, leading the charges. Krex, this Sejuani is a giant beast. Only member alive is the Kha'Zix, and he will fall eventually, squashed by the Sejuani, and they lead the charge now. 4 members alive with the wave to get the bot tier 2 or bot inhibitor turret.
Yeah, huge credit to TooPid here. They were able to protect their AD carry. Ezreal was practically untouched in that fight. I think we are going to be going to a replay very soon.
Yeah, we will be jumping into the replay as we try to take a look at what happened. Here, why don't you take the lead on this, Boots?
I mean, the fight was split into two.
Right.
I mean, you have the big front line, the main fight here in this small choke point, and nobody is able to get to the Ezreal because of that huge front line. The health bars are way too big for Crescendo to chuck out.
Yeah, not just that, right? After your initial damage has fallen in the form of Echo, the burst finishes, there's really nothing much you can do, and the ace being converted just means, oh well, now we can just push the lane, reset, get our objectives, and credit where credit is due. TooPid has been phenomenal on the objective game. They've gotten 4 dragons, all of them are high priority dragons as well.
Yeah, and it all comes down to being able to know when to take those fights. You take those crucial fights when the dragon is just about to spawn, so you can then translate it into an objective.
Getting the other objective now, so if we take stock of what the dragon provides, that is, 3 mountains, so, oh, hold on here, jumping onto the bottom side, getting out of range of the stun is crucial here. It returns the damage from the trial by fire as well, so the true damage doing a good amount of work on the Ezreal, the Echo rather.
Yeah, and you were saying we should take stock of the dragons.
Yeah.
I think we should do just that. Because if you can see, we have an Infernal and 3 mountains. So what that means is that TooPid has an increased damage, which means they will do better in team fights. And then once they're done with that team fight, they can then translate it into taking objectives, because with 3 mountains, they're going to melt everything on the map.
Speaking of melt, that one true shot barrage knocked them down to about half health, and now that they see this Kha'Zix is low, they could just look to force this and then get the Baron after that. It's a very common tactic we see a lot of the pro teams use. If you can isolate the jungle and chunk him out, force him to recall, you buy yourself a bit of time and a small window to go for the Baron objective.
And yeah, one thing we have to notice here is Gangplank has not been with his team much. He has been in the bot lane, no, he has been in the side lane, pushing towers and drawing attention from Crescendo. I think this is really good macro play that we maybe didn't see in the previous best of 3. Because what this does is it frees up more members of TooPid to then look for these fights.
Yeah, fights like these were in the pop preemptively, and the only member left now is, well, I say only member, he uses the Chrono Shift back and tries to juke this one out. Dim's still very low, and the Echo looking for the 1v1 against the Ezreal, but the concussive blows, man, the self-PU, getting the triple kill. That was pretty nuts coming from the Ezreal. They found a pick onto Apprentice and left all alone in the bottom side. I think they are a bit outmatched now. Crescendo find themselves with their pants down, TooPid pulling the wool over their eyes and getting the kills in necessary to finish off this game.
And Crescendo really being dragged all across this map, not able to respond to all the threats that TooPid is able to bring. And we do see TooPid here resetting, and I think this is really good. Because now that you force Crescendo into their base, you can go and take the Baron without much threat.
This is not the most exciting play, but it is definitely the safest play. Just as I say safe, Atheros overextending here under the influence of his opponents. Still managing to get out though, because a couple of members stayed back to get him out. The Orianna did take the bare brunt of the damage. So despite being in enemy territory, getting out safe, still all 5 members are alive. Their recalls are a bit disjointed, but it doesn't matter in the end, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're resetting now, and you can see that most of them are pathing towards the Baron. They really want this because it's their avenue to end the game, and Crescendo don't really have much tools to respond because they are mostly pushed into their base on the top lane and the bot lane.
I'm curious though, do you think the Baron Pit is a sort of zone of danger where Crescendo can turn the fight because it's such a small and closed area? Maybe, Fine can, alluding to his name as well, find a miraculous stun on the backline. Maybe Aatrox can get multiple members with his Qs. Do you think there's something that they could do there inside the Baron Pit that might be more dangerous for them? Maybe they should just ignore the Baron entirely?
I would just ignore the Baron, try to stall out the game, have a last stand in your base, and if you can farm up enough minions, you are able to maybe find an avenue back into this game. Because right now with a 12,000 gold lead, if you try to contest the Baron, more than likely you are going to get wiped from TooPid.
Right, so Crescendo should just ignore the Baron and look to make the last stand in the base. Glacial Prison barely whiffing their Great Flash coming in from Jhin to get the support out of that sticky situation. Turning towards Baron are the TooPid squad. 3 members strong still, the AD carry in the mid lane, but this ward is going to give away everything as observers kindly showing there. The teleport coming in, they're not taking advice boots here, they're going for the fight, trying to get the pincer down. Echo on the back line, he's being melted so quickly. Meanwhile at the front, the World Ender is leading the charge from the Aatrox. It's quite a split fight though. Unfortunately, so in the end, it will be the Kha'Zix that falls first, and the Braum to fall on the opposite side. This
Keep
is
your
still
eye on the Gangplank in the base.
yeah, Gangplank is still pushing in, and the Echo has somehow made it in, and there is a super minion there. I like the way you think. He's looking to close this one out with the Sheen.
He's gonna do
Oh,
it.
he's gonna do it for sure. They're denying the recalls. There's only 2 members left, and Echo is just barely making it in. We saw in the previous fight there, Etheros managing to get the 1v1, and now the Echo is getting isolated because the rest of his team is coming in to join him. The Gangplank trying to steal the glory for himself, pushing in 1v1. Eventually, the team comes in to swoop in and finish this game off. Game 1 of this series goes the way of TooPid.
Yeah, I think it was a clinical finish from the Gangplank. Like, if you're playing a Gangplank, you want... This is the game that you want to play.
Right.
You want to be in a side lane. You want to keep the pressure on you and not on your teammates, so that you keep pressuring those turrets, try to take them down. And in the end, we do see him trying to backdoor the base. And I think that is the best game you can have if you're playing Gangplank.
Yeah, ideally, Gangplank wants to be isolated away from the team fights because you're not necessarily very good at dealing damage in an uncoordinated situation, right? You always want to be on the side supporting with cannon barrage and trying your best to provide the 5th or 6th man in that sense. Credit where credit is due. I think they did a very good job executing a macro game. TooPid there showed that they have a good mastery of the map movements.
Yeah, but we do see Crescendo with some signs of life. I think they can actually come back in the next game if they try to play more towards their win condition.
Right.
If they try to, if they had shut down the Gangplank earlier, Gangplank wouldn't have such a large impact on the game.
Yeah.
And maybe they would have found a win in here.
That's a massive point you bring up because without the attention, the Aatrox was already, getting solo turrets, getting kills on the Gangplank. Maybe a bit more attention might have set things in motion for him to be slightly bigger, be the bigger front line for his team, and perhaps buy more space for the Kai'Sa to pop off.
Yeah.
With that, guys, we're going to go for a short break. Remember, this is a best of 3 series. TP looking for their representative right now. TooPid making a good case for themselves. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
See you.
Hey guys, welcome back to what could potentially be our last game. We're at match point now in the best of three, trying to decide who's going to be the champion for the Temasek Polytechnic, who's going to represent them in the campus league. I am Daryl Hungry Cast Lim, and alongside me today is going to be Spoots.
Yeah, hi.
A man of little words.
Not
Man of
good
little
with
words.
intros, my
Yeah.
friend.
Not a man of little words, but he's been having a pretty good day today. On point with the color so far, giving us the breakdown and the lowdown of the analysis. So should be jumping into the game relatively soon, where Spoots can show off his pick band analysis skills just a little bit more.
Honestly, I'm just excited to be here.
The eagerness, I can't tell, guys. I honestly can't tell.
Nah, it's here, it's here. Just,
Alright. Okay, we do see both teams moving into picks and bans. Champ Select is going to indicate that Thresh will be banned out by TooPid, and if this is, any example, we should probably see the Jarvan on the red side.
Yeah, I'm thinking if you actually banned the Gangplank here, because
Right.
he was actually quite unstoppable in the previous game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I mean, if you think you are able to, answer the Gangplank in the top lane, you can just leave it open again. But one more thing that I want to take a look at is the bot lane, because I think in the previous game we didn't really highlight enough how well TooPid's bot lane was
Oh,
doing.
for sure, yeah.
I mean, the Ezreal was like, what, 10, 12 something? 0?
In laning phase alone, he was 3-0 or 2-0 at least, I think.
Yeah, and later in the game, I think the last one I
Mhm.
saw was he was 10-0.
But that was, all credit to the jungler, right? Crack's coming down early to set up the gank and the support, making everything fall into place. That was like a team effort.
Yeah, but also you have to give credit to the
Oh,
Ezreal
for sure, yeah.
for being able to snowball that lead.
Ezreal, notoriously a difficult champion to snowball on just because of the nature of how he ramps up.
Yeah.
But if left unchecked, like you mentioned, if snowballed in fights, a lot of damage, and that was really what he did.
Yeah, but we do see him banned here, so
Mhm.
no chance of seeing that
Yeah,
again.
I think Crescendo are like, what, we should probably just, ban away stuff that they're really good at. So no Sejuani, no Ezreal, and no Vladimir. Instead, it's going to be a Jarvan first pick. Why am I not surprised?
I like the Jarvan.
I love the Jarvan, right?
Yeah. Great for engages, decent damage, decent tankiness.
I was talking to this it's starting to become a meme, right? So the casters and I have this running joke about how I got into an argument with someone on YouTube comments. I kid you not, right? This is for like the LST. And I was trying to discuss how Jarvan and Rek'Sai are both tier 1 picks, but Jarvan is not as good as dealing with, like the Scuttlecrab and stuff. And with the changes to Scuttlecrab now, I think Jarvan is that much higher in priority.
Yeah, I think, well, I can't really speak to that.
A lot of context is lost on you, unfortunately. I sound like some crazy old man rambling now. I'm sorry.
Okay, moving on.
But surprisingly, or not surprisingly, it's going to be a Rek'Sai locked in a response. So it's Jarvan Rek'Sai, this matchup, age as old as time in the MSI, and so is it going to be in this game. Galio locked in, probably for the support position on Jhin here.
I like the Galio though, because at this level of League of Legends, you really want to look towards those team fights, and Galio does bring to the table so much peel potential with the ultimate knocking up all the people around your target. So I think Galio very valuable here, but it is answered on with the Braum.
A good answer pick as well. I think the Galio was not only to guarantee themselves a bit more global pressure, but also to deny the Jarvan Galio composition. Jarvan and Galio, if you understand, how they work together as a pair, they basically create an area, a zone of control, right? When they use the Cataclysm and the Hero's Entrance together. So they want to split up that combo, and right now they're looking towards the Hecarim in the top lane to supplement the damage for this 3 very bulky frontline composition.
Hecarim very good into melee matchups, brings a lot of damage early into the game. Do you think Irelia is going to top lane?
Flex pick, man. It probably might be a mid lane, might be a top lane. I don't know. I can't tell at this point.
Yeah, but if you're TooPid here, do you send the Irelia top into that, I don't know, a slightly detrimental matchup against...
Yeah, I think Aurelia against Hecarim is quite a tricky matchup to play. Even in the LST, I thought this was something that, even at pro level, like actual pro level, Aurelia versus Hecarim is really tough for the Aurelia, especially when Hecarim can go for Ignite.
Yeah, so the question here is, do you put the Irelia on the mid lane? Can Ornology, is Ornology the mid laner?
He is.
Alright, is he able to play the Irelia? Then do you put like a ranged top laner?
I think you
up
take
there?
Cannon, right? You take Cannon to combo with the Jarvan, put Aurelia in the mid lane, and you have a bit more of an answer towards the Galio this time. So that is definitely an option for them.
But we see strong team fighting comes from, both sides here. The Twitch well, Twitch hover. Uh, we want to see AD carry to supplement that. Draven might actually not be the best choice.
Okay.
Lucian
Lucian is
here.
interesting, but I think Lucian team fights rather poorly as compared to some of the other options, right? Varus, oh, banned away, okay. So maybe this might be the next best option, right? Not
Yeah.
necessarily the best team fighter, but the next best default option.
Yeah, well, the Lucian, you really don't want to let him get a hit early. So if we see him locked in here, and we do, TooPid might actually want to, focus more resources toward the bot lane to shut him down before he's able to come online.
I kind of buy the fact that TooPid's bot lane is able to get off to that roaring start, just from what we saw previously. You know, Birdcage Diva on that Braum was spectacular at setting up the gank coming for the Sejuani. This time with the Jarvan, it's going to be that much easier. So fingers crossed that they can make something like that happen. The Master Yi pick, they're trolling because earlier in the day someone picked Master Yi and I was like, oh, they got to snowball the Master Yi to get a hit. He did not get a hit.
That was something else, man.
The narrator, he did not get a hit. I'm sorry. So looking for the last pick to round out this conversation now is Crescendo. A lot of focus on banning out the AD carries, so it's going to be a misfortune here that is locked in for epistemology.
Yeah, and I think if they do lock in this Orianna, they do have a lot of damage that they're just able to pile onto a single target, and they do. So I think if it comes down to the team fight, I will give the advantage over the Crescendo slightly, because TooPid does have the tools to, come up on top in team fights, with the Braum, with the Glacial Fissure, and with the Misfortune's Bullet Time.
Right, so definitely more team fighting tools on the TooPid side, if I'm not wrong. And for Crescendo, this reminds me of the old school, the Chinese freight train composition. Have the Hecarim and a bunch of damage behind him just ready to pile onto the entry that he makes, right? So the old Chinese freight train composition was Hecarim, and then you'd have like an Orianna and a Graves AD carry. This is how old this composition is, by the way. So the Hecarim would, goes in, speed into the center with the Onslaught of Shadows. Orianna will use the Shockwave on top of that, and then Graves will use collateral damage, which is pretty much the same collateral damage it is now, to finish it off. And you'd at least be able to pick off the squishies in those sort of situations. It looks a bit similar to this now. The Hecarim wants to be able to get into the center of it all with the Orianna and have Galio supplement the engage.
Yeah, like you said, Crescendo here with a lot of champion synergy. We just have to see if they're able to capitalize on that later in the game. Like I said, team fights going to be very, very important for both teams. And whoever comes out of those team fights on top should be able to take the game.
Yeah, it's a matter of execution, is something we were alluding to in the previous game, right? When both teams have similar-ish compositions, now it's both team fighting. It comes down to skill checking each other, who's on top in these sort of micro fights and who can get the drop on each other when it comes to these 5v5s. I really like where both teams have their eyes set on for this game. It's going to be an explosive one, definitely worthy of a match point. TooPid now one game away from closing this out and becoming the representatives for TP, whereas Crescendo still have a bit of an uphill climb. 2 games will guarantee their position, but they got to win this one first before they can go anywhere.
Yeah, no gangplank though. Good for Crescendo. For that.
No gangplank. You're
I mean,
very on about the global presence sort of champions, right? I feel
Yeah.
like there's a burning desire in your heart.
Yeah, I want to see a lot of good macro plays. That's
Right.
the thing, because anyone can get scrappy, anyone can come out on top in team fights. But the macro play for me is really what sets teams apart from each other.
Okay.
And we don't see the gangplank here. Doesn't mean we don't see macro. We have the Galio. Galio's out isn't actually goable.
Right.
So we have to see Galio in the correct position in order to capitalize on his ultimate.
He's sort of like Tahm Kench in the sense where if you make the correct moves before your opponent, it's advantage that increases exponentially. But if you're moving late, it's a disadvantage that increases exponentially because then you're using the hero's entrance into a fight that's already lost.
Yeah.
Same thing for Tahm Kench. But if you get the drop, if you act first, if you have the advantage, then like you said, I completely agree. You're starting the fights off with the advantage. So macro play is going to be key here, and at the same time, Spoots is low key throwing shade at IG, who literally just runs in at the enemy and dies. So gotta play the macro,
Yeah.
map the plays and play the map.
Yeah. But that being said, I'm looking forward to some explosive matches.
There's no
with
way
both
around
these
this. I
team
mean,
compositions.
regardless of how you play the map macro-wise, right, it's still gonna come down to a big 5v5 fight. It's the classic Southeast Asian style. Even though we can play the map, we're just gonna run each other and kill each other, right?
Good point.
We'll eventually end up defaulting to that, and both teams with the same style, same direction. It's inevitable, as Thanos would say.
Sure. Sure.
Should be jumping the gate relatively soon. And guys, not to forget, signups are still available for the rest of Campus Legends. At this point, we're playing on a week-on-week basis. Every week, it's going to be a new tertiary institution that's playing. So, Google your school /Campus Legends. I'm sure the sign-up page will be right there. It'll be an Eventbrite page. Sign up with your squad, for a chance to gain glory for your institution, but also some sweet cash prizes.
Yeah. Do it.
Yeah, do it, man. Spoots demands it.
Demands is a strong word, but you know what? Yeah, sure. I demand it. Do it.
More teams for us to cast is going to just mean that we'll get all the more bloodthirsty action at the end of the day. It's been an interesting day for us. This is potentially our last game, definitely our second last game. A lot of good matches today. The quality and the caliber of the teams have risen quite a bit compared to the past. This time we're seeing teams that understand the macro, understand how to draft, especially in this series. Impressing me a lot more is Temasek Polytechnic. Jumping into game relatively soon. Once more, apart from signing up, don't forget to tune in weekly around this time. It's usually 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. GMT +8 where we go live. To remind you guys, next week we will have Nanyang Polytechnic playing their qualifiers on Saturday, and Neon Polytechnic playing their qualifiers on Sunday. So if your fans are playing, if your friends are playing and you're fans of them, tune in next week to catch them on stream.
Yeah, looking forward to that as well. But right now we are jumping into game for TooPid versus Crescendo, game number 2.
Smelling some premium aged Gouda coming in here for CSD. Crescendo stacking up on the bot side with 3 and then making the corner turn. Might just be a defensive fan. Meanwhile, defensive hold here from TooPid as well.
Yeah, actually, can I bring up something here? Because you do see, if you hover over the Dragon Pick right now, it is going to be an Ocean Drake. And most teams tend to want to take that early to give their laners a slight advantage in regenerating health and mana.
Right.
So if I were both junglers here, I would be trying to get a strong bot side, like we saw with TooPid earlier, be able to set up control wards around the bot side river and capitalize on that by taking the dragon.
Yeah, it's one of those dragons that have a lot more value early on, but as the game goes on, it just becomes, instead of Ocean Drake, it becomes Open Drake, because there's no point sacrificing the map movement to take it when, Baron is open, when turrets are open. So I agree with you 100%. Get that early, get the advantage in the lane just because of the regeneration. And if you can secure the vision to get it and sneak it, all the better. Right now, as we see the map being played, it's going to be a similar start on bot side for both junglers, with some help from the AD carries and supports.
Yeah, but Aatrox versus Hecarim is something I want to bring attention to. Not my strong suit. I don't really know much about the top lane. So if you'd like to take the lead on this one.
Okay, so for the viewers that are a bit confused, we are both, sort of color casters by nature, but as it stands, looking at this matchup with the Ignite, of course, the kill potential definitely in favor of Apprentice on the Hecarim. Level 2 is the window where we want to see him get the devastating charge, right? When he can start shoving the Aatrox towards his own side of the map, that's when he can actually get the kill. But the wave clear is definitely much more available for Aatrox, so he's not going to give that opportunity to Hecarim. He's just going to clear the wave back off, using the Q spam.
Alright, we do see Jarvan pathing to the top lane though, might be able to get a gank here.
A bit lower mana, has to wait for it to come up. He's still level 2 though, might have just shown his hand. Nope. Stays in brush. Walking over to the red buff, will get spotted out by the Tremor Sense once he turns this corner. Oop.
I don't understand why Orianna isn't actually backing off.
Ooh. Yeah, there you go, pushing him into his side of the map with the Ignite as well, but with the Jarvan coming up to supplement this, Apprentice is on the wrong side of the map. Flag and drag in, auto attack will slow him with the red buff, and now taking the 1v1, first blood will go the way of the jungler. And like I said, he's trying to get the push in, but because Jarvan recognized it, I guess he pathed up in the right time.
Yeah, a little bit of unorthodox pathing, but you saw the... Not much action.
Yeah, there was an attempt, right? There was a teleport attempt, but the flash was burned in response.
Yeah, I mean a good trade of summoners here. And again, back to the point, Jarvan was trying to path down, but he did have the awareness that something was happening topside, and he did make that rotation up. So credit to TooPid for having that kind of team synergy and team communication.
I love seeing teams that understand how to alter their jungle pathing towards lanes that require help, and being fluid with their pathing as well, because this signals to me that the team is talking, they understand what the conditions are for lanes to not, auto explode and still come out ahead in the end. So this is a good sign to me that the team is speaking and communicating and understands the game on a deeper level.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell that Krex here on the side of TooPid does have a lot of confidence after that win. He is spending a lot of time in the enemy jungle, was able to take up a few Raptors from Dim,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to put the Rek'Sai slightly behind, but probably not going to be that much of an impact.
Not to say that it's inconsequential, but that EXP, might come in handy when they're racing for level 6. Taking a look at both junglers, they're both level 6, level 4 rather, so still equal as it stands. The item advantage in the top side goes the way of Aether's because he did get the assist early on. You see again coming in on the bot side, a great flash will catch two members with the taunt and tunneling in. Oh, failing the tunnel though, so Dim is late to this gank. He's gonna flash and knock up the single member of Birdcage Diva, but eventually they will get the kill and walk away. A great setup by Jin once more to secure the bot lane.
Now, if you're on the side of TooPid, yeah, that was actually quite a bit of a mistake because you do have a ward in the jungle. You did see Dim trying to path down. You know he wants to go for that gank. Yet you don't want to back off and allow Galio that flash taunt.
Flag and drag was a bit delayed there. Normally most people would use the EQ first and then flash into a knockup. So because that was so predictable, the Lucian managed to get out of there and at the expense of his own flash, of course.
Yeah, and on the side of Crescendo, you don't have flashes in your bot lane. You only have a heal down there. So that could attract jungle pressure because Miss Fortune, if you take a look, she still does have that crucial flash. So if the jungle is able to come, if the Jarvan 4 is able to come down and create some pressure, we might be able to see TooPid take over the game from the bot side once again.
Yeah, this is the classic, like, regardless of solo queue or not, right? You always ask your jungler to re-gank the bot side or whichever wave and whichever lane that's lacking their summoner spells. And at this level of play, they should be able to track summoner spells every time they go on cooldown. So, rightly pointed out, we should see Jarvan making a return visit to the bottom side soon. Looking at the time on the clock, it's 6 minutes. So starting on red buff means that he has another minute or so before the bottom camps start spawning and the bottom red buff starts spawning for himself.
Back to the earlier point though, you do see 1, 2, 3 control wards already in the bottom lane jungle surrounding the dragon, even though Crescendo's is a little bit more shallow than TooPid's, which just means that should TooPid be able to make a play bot lane, they might be able to go for the dragon. But if you look on your map right now, we do see the enemy bot lane pathing up. Do they want to take the dragon or do they want to go mid lane?
I think they're just looking to clear the net, clear the net of vision out around the river. They're not necessarily looking to make a play onto the dragon, and just because they have the wave pushed up, they're looking to not stay there and not expose themselves to being ganked. So the smart move, of course, is just to get out of there. And speaking of get out of there, this Aatrox needs to back up and not overstay his welcome. The Umbral Chainsaw is going to pull back the Hecarim, but with the Rek'Sai pathing towards here, he won't have knowledge. He will have knowledge of that with the ward in the river.
And it's nice to see Dim not being discouraged from the previous game. He is still trying to make these plays for his team. Both junglers actually trying to be very proactive on the map. And if we could go back to the previous point actually, I do like to see the awareness coming in from Crescendo that they do have to clear the wards around the dragon or risk losing it again. We don't want to see a repeat of it, the previous game. What was four dragons going on over to the side of
Not a
TooPid.
single one. Crescendo didn't even get a single dragon that game.
Big ol' oof.
Big oof indeed. Now look at the top side of the map. Dim is sneaking in Metal Gear Solid style, trying to get a gank with the tunnel down. But looking at the number of minions, this is a wave that's going to be pushing towards him. Doesn't matter though, because they're looking for the play under the turret. He uses the World Ender, and with the Onslaught of Shadows, he's going to be able to lock him up. Apprentice gets the kill credit for that one. Great layering of CC. Not even expanding the flash, but only using the Ignite. Meanwhile, bullet time being used. The Scythe will manage to get out with the heal. So being traded across a single summoner spell for a kill on the top side. I think Crescendo come up better from that one.
Yeah, and credit to Crescendo for being able to do that, for being able to create that play. Because if you were paying attention, Aethris was actually on his side of the lane. He was actually close to tower.
Okay, I'm gonna have to cut you off there because they're looking like they want to dive under this turret, and with the taunt, it will put the aggression onto the Misfortune. See you, man. I'm helping. I'm Jarvan. I Cataclysm, and I kill my own support. That is a fuse bat moment.
Yeah, but what's going on here?
Yo, multiple kills happening across the map at multiple times, but and they tried to make something happen in the mid lane, but with the flash and cleanse, our Chronology gets out, so taking stock of everything, right? Let's summarize. We get 2 kills for CSD and 1 kill for TooPid. A bit of a oof there when he uses the Cataclysm to lock the Braum in, but at the end of the day, the goal lead lies in favor of TooPid still.
Yeah, and I believe the Rek'Sai did try to jump in on the Irelia, but it was a good effort in using both summoner spells and getting out. But that being said, like we alluded to earlier, both summoner spells down means jungle pressure coming your way.
Rek'Sai is one of those champions that can get behind the target and then get the knockup very quickly, so I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to re-hit to mid lane again, but they gotta get the vision down first though, that's the important part. As you mentioned multiple times, vision is key.
Oh yeah, vision is very important, especially in this and in this level, because if you know what a jungler is, you're able to plan the game around that.
Right.
If the jungler is top lane, you can try to pressure and clear the vision around Dragon, like Crescendo is trying to do here, able to get the Scuttle Grab, slightly more vision to supplement to make sure that TooPid aren't able to sneak it away.
And this is a squad that looks as experienced as they are communicating, so I think that for them to get the vision down and work it all together is not out of the question now. Devastating charge being used by Apprentice to run away. He smells a rat here in the top side, and that rat is the Jarvan the 4th. Flashing forward with the EQ, but he's going to use the Onslaught of Shadows to juke the other way. Great play coming in. Here comes the support in from the Irelia. Onology is going to get the kill carry for Dim. And now with the assist, the Resurrect is up for Aetherius here.
More credit to TooPid here. If you noted, as soon as the Hecarim was able to come down through the jungle, Irelia was there to answer. She immediately puffed up, and we might see her go in on the Orianna.
Deciding against it, but just jumping forward the Vanguard's edge once more, and you can't underestimate the damage from Onology. This is the big oof when you get the Conqueror proc together with the slow coming in from the Vanguard's edge. Meanwhile, Jin here stuck in a weird position. Bullet time is going to finish him off. A great knockup though to find the kill, but here comes the concussive blows to self-PU, flashing away now in the face of the culling. A great block, but the auto attack is going to do it. He's missing the concussive blows though. Eventually will find it with the auto attack. Meanwhile, on the top side, Apprentice is going to fall once more to the regain coming in from Cracks. And TooPid is making things happen all across the map, multiple places, despite being misplaying a bit earlier on. Now they find themselves at a 4k goal lead.
Yeah, now we do see the, the quintessential Southeast Asian playstyle coming out.
Oh boy.
Lots of scrappy fights. And with scrappy fights comes the mistakes. And you could see the mistakes of Dim, jumping in when he didn't have anyone around him.
Right.
Pays for his sins. Tries to jump on the misfortune, but was unable to get the damage down, and in the end just gives away his life.
But that's a tough situation to be in because you're standing in the center of bullet time and you kind of want to disrupt it, but doing so means you burn your flash and you're stuck in a 1v2. I kind of empathize a bit with them being in that weird position. So now 7-4, the kill score, TooPid looking like they are in full control of this. No one paying any attention to the dragon yet, unfortunately. And we're reaching the point where you shouldn't have to. It should be a free pickup on someone in the bottom side. I think the big objective right now, both teams will want to contest, is Rift Herald.
Yeah, 4k goal lead right now, even though it isn't exactly insurmountable. We do see Crescendo here trying to do something, maybe?
Using the tunnel to get out of there, then not staying in range of any other damage.
Yeah, I think both teams are just trying to temper their aggression, look towards their next big item power spike maybe to look for these crucial fights.
Right. Speaking of power spike, Blade of the Ring King completed for both Lucian and Misfortune. Top side is the Youmuu's Ghost Blade done for the Aatrox.
Yeah, and as we can see, the Irelia has been given quite a push here. 2 kills already, pushing her way towards that Trinity Force. She does have that Tiamat, yeah, to aid in her wave clear, able to push waves much faster.
The taunt isn't exactly what you're looking for. Meanwhile, here in the jungle is a massive fight breaking out, using a great stun. Manages to find a kill off the back with the ultimate as well. So rejoining the fight here is the Jarvan together with the Braum. This time the Cataclysm is not actually helping. The bullet time is enough to find 2 members, and now they have to back off because they are sorely outnumbered. Epistemology, you're in a tough spot, my friend. Eventually gonna fall and almost ace with a single member left alive in the top side to get the turret.
Yeah, and scrappy fighting again. The MF able to capitalize on that since they were in a choke point by putting down that bullet time. Tons of damage coming across, able to shred through Crescendo.
Yeah, I think they're finding their footing here with these combos, right? The cataclysm into the bullet time is starting to pay off for them, and I think they understand that they can start to work in these tight corners with these combos. Now moving forward, the kill score 9-8, getting equalized a bit, but the gold is still very far ahead, and this is largely from the turret plates that have just fallen.
Yeah, and now the next thing you want to look at is which objective should each team go for. And if you're TooPid, I think instead of like, I mean, Rift Herald is up, but I don't think you really want to go for it. You want to open up the map again like last
Why
game.
not?
Why not? Because since Rift Herald was introduced, it has been quite, you know, a tempo sink is what I like to call it. If you try to take the Rift Herald, you are sacrificing a lot of tempo to get it. Tempo that could be used elsewhere by maybe taking a turret, taking a kill. I think that's much more a primary objective. Secondarily, if you do find a pick, maybe you go for the Rift Herald before you back.
You might say tempo sync here, but Crex has something else to say about that. Clearing out the control ward. Two members around holding the defense on this Rift Herald. Meanwhile, they're going to get the bot tier 1. Backing off the Rift Herald right now, or at least pulling it out, is Crex. They will have a man disadvantage here though. Turning the corner is the Rek'Sai as well as the Hecarim with the Ignite.
Yeah, I think they want to contest this.
Oh, great Umbral chain to pull him back in, and now they have 3 members strong here. They have the advantage as well, the priority, because you can see in the mid lane, they've already pulled the AD carry and support back up, whereas Lucian is just stuck on the bottom side, right? So knowing that they have 1 man extra means that this is a free Rift Herald and they can drop in the mid lane to get the mid tier 1 as well.
Yeah, and take a look at the positions of Crescendo. TooPid here does just have priority over the mid lane, as we do see some action.
Yeah, action here, landing the stun onto the Galio, but jumping in is going to be certain death. Committed a lot of resources to get that kill. It was a shockwave as well, so eventually the mid tier 1 is going to fall without any further defense from the Crescendo side.
Yeah, and TooPid here really able to capitalize on their map lead. Ooh.
Jumping in, they're not letting you speak at all. Using the Cataclysm to force the disengage coming in from the Rek'Sai. Meanwhile, a solo kill on the top side. Ding ding ding! Aetherius gets one onto the board for himself, or the second one rather, I should put it. They can turn their sights onto the top tier 2, but the Aatrox is happy with that one kill. You know, the pony's tasty enough, you don't need any other structures.
Yeah, even though we did bring up the point of scrappy fighting, we do see that TooPid is still pulling Crescendo all over the map. They take all the turrets, and we do see a replay.
Oh man,
Just get slammed, man.
that is a painful kill.
That's a real feels bad, man.
It is, right? I mean, you thought you got out of the range of the Umbral chains. Nope, it's still in it. Feels bad.
Riot's hitboxes.
Yeah, I felt the same way in one of those games with the Mumu earlier today. I was like, how did that connect? That was, you know, that wasn't a clean shot.
Yeah, lollipopping at its finest, my friend. Yeah, like, if we revert to the point I was trying to make, even though it's only a 2-kill discrepancy, we do see TooPid here already with a 6k goal lead, and that's just because they are able to find these advantages across the map without trying to fight. They have taken turrets in the top, mid, and bot lane, and now if I were them, I would just, you know, try to push up my vision line, try to choke out Crescendo from trying to take any objectives.
Yeah, I think that's the textbook play as well. Most teams would recommend that. Most teams would recommend that, right? If you're ahead, you push your vision line up, isolate anyone trying to clear wards, and find your picks from there. And if they don't counter vision you, you can pretty much just choke them out from all the resources left in the jungle, from all the objectives that are on your side of the map, like the dragon, like the baron. Right now, the next dragon to spawn is pretty far away, but it looks like it is going to be a valuable one, I believe. Nope, Ocean Drake once again.
Looks like an ocean game.
Yeah, RNG is tough, my friends.
I mean, they got all the good drakes last game, so...
Yeah, that is true. You know, you give some and you take some, and this time they're giving it all, so... The response here from Crescendo, what can they do to turn this one around? Because I'm quite curious. We talked about team fighting, right? Can't really team fight all too much when your top lane is getting solo killed when you're so far behind. And right now the goal lead is 6,000. That is a big gap, my friend.
They're taking dragon.
Dragon under the noses of Crescendo as well, and with this flank that comes in, if they re-engage, this might be very tough, getting the bullet time down onto multiple members, using the damage to do it all, and the Onslaught of Shadows trying its best to peel everyone off. The Shockwave might turn this one around though, but that's 2 kills already in the pocket of TooPid. They turn it into a 2-4-2. Crescendo now turning this fight around. Lucian completely untouched, might just find the kill onto Birdcage Diva. Here comes Aatrox, and the World Ender is an appropriate name because they're ending the hopes of Crescendo in this fight.
Yeah, I don't understand what Crescendo is trying to do here. Like you said, the Ocean Drake isn't actually that valuable. I don't understand why they're trying to contest in a choke point where Misfortune's bullet time can just shred through your health bars.
Yeah, and all credit to TooPid for, understanding this is a place where we can extend our goalie even more. Let's just pull the trigger, even though it's a bad choke, right? That choke is the Orianna specialty. You can get multiple members into a shockwave, but they say we're far enough ahead that we can take the hit, we can move forward and still convert the kills because Aatrox is just so damn big.
Yeah, I would like to bring up a counterpoint. You said actually towards the Ocean Drake point, because if you take a look at what TooPid's trying to do, their win condition at this point is actually just to continue choking out Crescendo. And if you do that and Crescendo tries to respond to you, you're going to take some damage.
Right.
And to mitigate that, you don't have to go back to base to heal up. You have to double Ocean Drake to, try to heal up, keep the pressure going.
So that Ocean Drake, in your words, functions more as a buffer for you to heal up in these fights as opposed to the actual objective that you want to use to your advantage. I can see that, I can see that.
Yeah, just a bit of an indirect buff instead of something you can actually see.
Massive stun. Could have possibly went in. Vanguard's Edge was available, but hesitated against it.
No, you wouldn't want that fight. I mean, the Rek'Sai was actually just behind them, so you don't want to take a 1v3.
This is what separates the solo queue boys from the big boys, right? If you're a solo queue guy, you're like, well, I'm strong and I hit 2 members. Maybe I could jump in. You're like, sounds tempting, This is the classic Yasuo play, the Z play, where everyone wants to look for the highlight reel clip, but they have tempered their aggression, like you mentioned, understanding that being measured is the best way to finish this game off and find themselves as the representatives for TP.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. Oh, wait a minute.
Speaking of tempering aggression, flashing over the wall is this Aatrox. Ethereal's now juking away, using the Umbro Chains to disengage here. He's fallen back to normal state, so there's no more speed boost available, and the Devastating Charge should be more than enough to finish this one off. He's juking around. They split this one up. He might just find a 1v1 here.
They're taking Baron.
Taking Baron instead, buying up so much time Ethereal's here. He still manages to turn this one around. It's gonna be a 1v2.
Ooh.
Run away, man. Just run away. This is a bad situation for you to be in. Now the members of TooPid, they will secure the Baron for sure here. He's just jumping forward. He smells the Rek'Sai across. Pops the blast cone, we'll be able to see him. He's hiding. He's juking. He's running. And that's Baron secured by TooPid. This Aatrox is a monster.
Oh, even the BM entering the enemy. Oh, wait, what?
He did jump in, I believe, but then he jumped out again.
I
Might just
don't
be a
know.
visual bug there. I know the spectator bug has been quite an issue for a while.
Yeah, well, right. Moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on. Spectator bugs. Yeah, TooPid able to continue to choke. Like, when you force that kind of pressure with the Aatrox, I think Aethris has been proven to do this really, really well. First on the Gangplank and now on the Aatrox. Pulling 2 members to the bot lane and the ability of TooPid to actually say, yes, they are at the bot lane, we can take the Baron without them contesting. And they do just that, able to pick it up, and now they're able to push for the win.
Yeah, traditionally though, the Misfortune would suck at taking Baron, but she has the Blade of the Ring King, which makes it slightly easier. Traditionally, you would build like lethality, right? And it's kind of weak against Baron, but this time at least there's some wiggle room for them to secure it. Normally it would be suicide, but like you mentioned, Ethereal's pulling a lot of pressure away to himself and still managing to convert for that 1 kill and staying alive. So now they turn their sights towards the bot tier 2. There is no way that Crescendo should stick around for this. In fact, if I was the captain, I'd like, all of you come to base. We fight in base because there's no way we should stick around for this.
Yeah, at this point, what do you really want to do if you're Crescendo? I think the best possible path right now is to just try to defend your base. Try not to let your base get cracked until the Baron is over. And then you try to come out and try to claw your way back.
Right. My sentiment with Baron buff is always the ultimate goal of Baron buff isn't to fight. It's to get 2 inhibitor turrets. Because with 2 inhibitor turrets and 2 inhibitors after that, it opens up the map so much more because dealing with 2 waves of super minions is just so suffocating.
Yeah, and we do see
Going
action.
in for the engage, the hero's entrance are layered on top, but the counter engage coming in from the bullet time is more than enough to get the shutdown onto Ethereals, but they get 2 and 3 off the back, and now they're fighting multiple members. There's an ace in a blink of an eye, just like that, and now they're looking to close out this game.
I mean, what can I say? Quite an easy win, I think.
Yeah, they saw the engage, they were like, MF press R please. And then she uses the bullet time to counter engage, and then they just turn the fight around. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. TooPid find themselves 2-0 ahead. representatives of Temasek Poly and looking to go up against T11 Square from SP now. We've got 2 representatives. We've got 2 very good games today.
More than 2, I think.
Yeah, this was pretty solid. I am I'm satisfied, you know.
I am very satisfied.
I mean, you want to see macro play? There's your macro.
Oh, there was a lot of macro play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one thing I want to draw attention to, I don't think we seriously haven't given enough credit to epistemology, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Okay.
Always on point with the bullet time in the
Mm-hmm.
second game. Amazing play on the Ezreal in the first game. I think he was a big reason, along with Aetherus and Krex, for the win today. And overall, the team just has really good communication.
Right, I agree. Like if I were to assess them as like a GP or a pro level team, right? The communication was on point. They were communicating at least how they wanted to conduct the laning phase and altering the jungle path to do so. And there were not many individual mistakes on all 5 members of the squad. I think on a whole, I'll give them like a solid 8, 9 out of 10 individually against their opponents today.
Yeah. One fun thing I'd like to do though is, if you take the TP representative and the SP representative, put them together, who wins?
I say TP. They look more clean, and their understanding of the game on a like pathing, drafting level it looks more impressive to me.
Yeah, I think then we are in agreement.
All right. So with that, guys, we will be calling a day for us here at the desk. Not to forget though, this is a weekly affair. Campus Legends is a weekly affair, and next week we will have Nanyang Poly playing on the Saturday and Nanyang Poly playing on the Saturday and Nanyang Poly playing on the Sunday. If your friends are playing, tune in, watch them. Their games will probably be broadcasted, and if they're not, well, just tune to watch some good League of Legends anyway. Right now, the signups are still available for the other schools, so if your school hasn't played yet, high chance that the signups are still available. Go and sign up, stand a chance to win this glory and cash prizes, and have us shout your name on screen. That's the part that people tend to be very hype about.
Can I just butt in?
Yeah.
If your friends aren't playing, you should play.
Yeah, you should play. Why not? Because I'm at the same rank of some of the players, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just do it. Why not? For us all at the casting desk, I'm Hungry Cast, and alongside me is Spoots Law. We are very, very happy to present Campus Legends, and we'll be going off and signing off tonight. Good night.
Bye.